Welcome to an episode of the Sports Genes Into the Lab podcast, where sports analysts and experts dissect the latest news from the NBA and NFL, giving you a unique view on some of the hottest topics around your favorite teams. From the fresh field smells of the NFL to the hardwood courts of the NBA and possibly your comfy couch for your fantasy football team. Let's see what kind of news the lab is working with today. Here's your host from the Sports Analytics headquarters in San Antonio, Texas, Ernest Silva.
We are back, and it is the episode of the year that most of you are in tune for. That's right, March Madness has started, and it has been crazy, and not even for the games you would think about. I don't know if anybody's seen that NIT Texas State game and North Texas game. That was nuts. So if you haven't seen that, go check out that foul call at the end. But I'm your host, Ernest Silva, excited to be a part of tonight's episode and powered by the wonderful and amazing Blue Collar Media Group. www.bluecollarmg.com is where you can go check out all the great live shows and streamers of Blue Collar. Guys, we're going to have a fun-filled episode today. It's that episode where you can interact with us, where you can have some fun. But let's talk about the guys in the studio. That is right. Joining me today, you know him as the man behind the numbers. That's right, Joe Goddard at The Source Podcast. What's going on, man?
Not much, Ernest. It's good to be back. It's been a couple of months since I've been on ITL here. It's been a quiet couple of months as far as podcasting with MLB Lockout. As a lot of our followers know, we do follow a lot of MLB. Crazy week, though, across Major League Baseball, across the NFL. It's been a crazy week, even more of a crazy day today. Not great for Patriots fans such as myself, but that's okay. And on the hardwood floor, I mean, this is what it's all about. March Madness is pretty much the only time of year that I actually care about college basketball. I'm not going to lie. I don't care one bit about conference titles. I don't care if you win the Big Ten or if you win the ACC, Big East. I don't care. I only care when it comes to the big dance. And if you don't make it, that's too bad. Ernest, I don't know if you saw this. This was the one thing I wanted to mention in my intro here. The Texas A&M coach had a meltdown today in his post-game press conference about how they didn't make the tournament, and by the numbers, that's not fair. Too bad. Win more games. I mean, somebody gets screwed every year, and it's time that we're going to talk about the teams that did get in and how deep they're going to go.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I do think that A&M actually should be dancing, but we could talk about that a different time. Let's talk about the man, the myth, the legend. You may not know him as you haven't seen his stuff, but that is right. Ryan Gabriel, the Gamble on Ginter podcast, very own host. What's going on, my man?
How's it going, man? It's good to be on here. Good to be joining you guys. We're very excited because March Madness is my favorite time of year. It's when we can dive into the numbers, 12 to 12, just watch basketball all day. Nothing like it.
That is absolutely right. A legend in his own regard, a man of few words, but many thoughts. I'm excited to have you on the show. I got to know your podcast a little bit more. I got to watch some YouTube videos, and I was like, all right, yeah, this guy's vibe is awesome. Let's see if we can get him on here regular. Let's bring him on and try to entice him. So I'm ecstatic that you're here. So tonight's interactive March Madness episode is fun. I'll remind everybody throughout the episode, you want to stay on and watch and be a part. It's an interactive episode. In just a short bit, we are going to go over all of the March Madness picks. We have a $100 grand prize to the best bracket in the ITL Tournament Challenge. That's right. There is another tweet that's pinned on the ITL Twitter that you can go and click, but it's the ITL group, the ITL Tournament Challenge. You can find that on ESPN. You can join that and a $100 grand prize to the best tournament bracket out there. I'll be posting a comment under tonight's feed as well as we get into tonight's episode, but stay tuned. You get to decide our fate. Who is going to be the champion this year and what's the headline going to be? Want to remind everybody tonight's episode is brought to you by Glitch Energy. That's right. That's not a glitch on your screen. That is actually our partner there, Glitch Energy. 25% off today with the code BCMG. Glitch with a Y, glitchenergy.com. Don't let that be a glitch on your screen. Let that be glitch energy in your hand. All right, guys, we are going to move on to the biggest headline that we have. That's right, ITL Hoopathon. You like hoops? You like the Hoopathon? That's right. We go and sponsor so many different high school students in the month of August. We'll be in Cape Cod, Massachusetts, where former G League MVP Courtney Sims will be the Sims Academy owner and coach. He'll be the other group to our very own Harlingen Triple Double Basketball Academy. So both of those programs there competing in the Hoopathon. Stay tuned for more information this August. So round one will be news from around the leagues. We're going to dabble in some professional sports, gentlemen, before we dabble in some March Madness. But we're not going to dabble too long. We know why you guys are here. Let's start off round one. Here we go. Guys, Deshaun Watson is the rumored name. And I'm like controlling Londo in the background. I'll stop Londo, I promise. Deshaun Watson is that man that has been talked about quite a bit. The carousel's happening. He's going somewhere. He's not staying in Houston. I'm going to give you guys one chance only. Job, where's he going?
He will be a Cleveland Brown.
Cleveland Brown. There's a choice right there. Ryan.
I got the Atlanta Falcons, man. I think there's a lot of moving parts right now. Hearing a lot of rumors about Matt Ryan. It's about time to move on. Once they got into the mix, I felt like the Falcons are a great landing spot for him to start out. It's just a matter of, does he want to go to Atlanta?
That's a good piece. Coach Peanut, the resident Browns fan, would be pitching Cleveland there. I heard with him comes the package of Robinson and Fuller. Does that move the needle for any team more for you guys?
Moves it more for Atlanta, I think. A good point was made that Atlanta's ready to move on. They need a quarterback. Calvin Ridley's not there this year, but he's a true number one receiver. And he'll be back next season after his suspension is up. And when he is back, that's a great wide receiver combo for Watson to be throwing to. And we know he likes that alpha wide receiver one. He hasn't been happy since they moved on from D-Hop.
Yeah, and that wide receiver one may be tight end one in Kyle Pitts. I feel like they're a match made in heaven. I mean, you can throw to that guy for the next 10 years, and they can be very flexible. If teams are going to take on Matt Ryan if they decide to get rid of him throughout this entire process, they can build guys like Robinson with the amount of money they still have to spend.
Yep, I completely agree. I think it's Atlanta, and Atlanta's to lose with the amount of space they have. But I heard Cleveland's making that strong push. That kind of lands me a little bit to where does Baker end up, but we'll tackle that at a different episode. Too much to go over today.
Carolina.
Okay, that's interesting because I was thinking Indianapolis. Yeah, okay, I'm on that train too. I'm on that train too. We'll have to see where that goes. We'll cover that next week. Let's talk some Cowboys because we always should talk Cowboys. Randy Gregory. Is that the Cowboys' fault? Is that Stephen Jones' fault, or is it just no loyalty? I'll start with you, Ryan. What do you think?
I mean, it's insane to me that it comes down to contract language in a sport where these agents who kind of run these have to know from previous experience with dealing with these owners how contracts are going to be laid out. So when I hear, hey, I'm confused about the language in this contract and that's why I don't want to sign, it is a little sketchy to me. I mean, I know these owners can be a little bit tricky with the things that are coming, and Randy Gregory has a history of off-the-field issues as well. So I imagine there has to be certain language for the benefit of the Cowboys. But at the end of the day, where does the player want to play? That matters at most of the time. You know, Cowboys fans are going to be sour about it, but they're not going to see him very often for it to really matter.
Joe, I'm going to turn the question over to you. Whose fault is this, or is it a loyalty issue?
Someone made a phone call to Randy Gregory and said, don't you want to win?
Oh my
You only have a
gosh.
couple of years left where you're at the peak of the game, and you're not going to win. You're not going to win in Dallas. You're just not. The road to victory is much steeper, I think, in Dallas with the way that they're structured and after losing Amari Cooper than it once was. And Deshaun Watson is going to make the Denver Broncos a competitor. I know that's a very tough division, but they'll be there right at the end because instantly Russell Wilson slots in as a top 3 quarterback in the AFC.
I can make a compelling argument as to why the Denver Broncos are sexier than Dallas, but the fact that the NFC is much weaker than the AFC makes me really challenged that it'd be easier in Denver.
There's 3 reasons why the road for Dallas is going to be easier. Giants, Commanders, Eagles. That's really the divisional
Carson Wentz,
matchup. Who
man.
they're
Come
going to
on
play
now.
2 years.
Oh,
stop! I mean, the teams that he's going to play
Perspective.
two times out of the year in the NFC East. Now, I mean, he's going to go tackle Mahomes, Herbert, and Derek Carr for the next 3-4 years.
Sure.
I mean,
Sure.
listen, those AFC West games are going to be great to watch. But man, as a defensive lineman, I don't know.
Well, this is probably going to be, in my opinion, we'll move on from this after this, Ernest. I don't want to hold us up.
No, you're good.
But it's probably a lifestyle situation, more so than it is anything else. He would make more money if he stayed in Texas based on taxes. But he does get probably a little bit closer to the lifestyle that he wants in Denver, where, marijuana is legal. We know that's been a continuing issue with the NFL as far as the Players Association and what they want to advocate for. We also know that the Denver Broncos organization is a lot more flexible if you're a star player than most teams. So I think part of it is just where you want to play.
Yeah, I completely agree. Let's just say he was high on Denver. We'll just leave it at that. We'll move on to I actually did have the Baker headline, so we'll just talk there. Baker to Indy was kind of the hint that Ryan and I got to. But Job, you said Baker to
It was Carolina?
Carolina.
I'm intrigued. I have to understand why. What is the appeal of Carolina?
Sure. So there are three things happening right now in the NFL that are going to lead to this. The dominoes are going to fall is, where does Deshaun Watson go? The teams that are in on Deshaun Watson: Atlanta, Carolina, New Orleans, and Cleveland. Those are the four teams that are supposedly in on him. I just think that with the cap space in that division, knowing that Brady eventually is going to hang it up, who knows when, but eventually is going to hang it up, that's a weak division. I would have thought maybe the Saints, but they're in cap jail, and Baker does have that kind of lofty contract. Sam Darnold is not going to push you. You're not going to lose your job to Sam Darnold if you're Baker Mayfield. And we know that Baker is not – this is tough. I don't want to say he's not a great quarterback, but he's not a great quarterback. And I don't think that he's necessarily an upgrade for Indy over Carson Wentz. They probably have something else in mind.
The Indy situation is just so interesting after throwing a first-round pick at Carson Wentz, and then after year one, which, I mean, to his credit, he had pretty good numbers in Indianapolis, Carson Wentz.
Jonathan Taylor.
Hey, listen, Jonathan Taylor definitely helps a lot, but at the same time, they had Jonathan Taylor last year with Phillip Rivers,
True.
And they got to the playoffs, but one would argue the talent isn't as great. Now, good young wide receiver and Michael Pittman. They're still going to have to add on in order for me to really like it, because Baker's one of those quarterbacks where I agree everything around him has to be perfect. You're going to have to tap the guys to deal with the personality that Baker is, because he's not like your regular quarterback that's just going to go sit in the, just spew out whatever quarterback speak he has. He speaks his mind, and it's kind of refreshing. And I think that's going to be a good fit in Indianapolis. And although I think it's a stopgap initially, overall, he's got a chance to be a QB1 and make an impact on what should be a pretty good team in a pretty weak division.
See, I'd love to think that, and the reason that I don't think Indy is a fit, and I'll leave it at this, agree or disagree, is that Baker Mayfield was able to convince the world that Odell Beckham Jr. was washed up by how poorly he played in that system in Cleveland. And I just don't know if you are developing this young talent in Michael Pittman Jr. You have a great defense. And also, you have the best running back in football right now with a good offensive line. Do you really want Baker to be the leader there? He's not been a great leader so far in his career, and they don't need a stopgap. I think it was Lawrence who tweeted out that he's been there 5 years now as a leader of that team on defense and had 5 different quarterbacks. That's tough. I think they need to make a move for a more permanent option than Baker Mayfield.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I just want to see a Deshaun Baker swap. Let's just put them on different teams. Let's just get this over with. I'm fine with that. Let's just roll with that. Houston deserves Baker Mayfield. Guys, we're not going to spend too much time on this, but let's roll right into what the hell is Jacksonville doing. I mean, Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, and Zay Jones, and I believe there's another play, but $113 million between them. I am I'm in utter disbelief. Let me just get one-word answers from you guys. What is your reaction to Jacksonville? Ryan, I'll start with you. What's your one-word answer?
Money.
Money.
You got money to throw around. You throw it around sometimes on whatever's available.
Just let it go. Job.
I think that's what you need to pay people to come catch balls at Jacksonville. It's unfortunate, but it's not an attractive destination for anybody, especially a wide receiver who knows that they're not going to get the ball that often. They're going to get matched up against great corners, and they don't have a quarterback necessarily who's going to have the time or the presence as a second-year player who spent all year getting sacked to get you the ball. So that's what you need to pay people to come in as weapons. And Christian Kirk's agent deserves a raise.
Absolutely deserves a raise. Absolutely deserves a raise. I maybe they're just they're going for speed. Maybe even Evan Ingram's going to find another gear, and Christian Kirk Zay Jones going to run everywhere. I don't know. I don't know what the hit. Maybe they think they're going to find a number one in the draft. I don't know.
This is how I look at it.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
There's one thing about that whole thing that doesn't make sense. Christian Kirk is probably, if you're being generous, wide receiver 40 in the league. He has the most lucrative contract now in receiving history. And that's
crazy.
Not because he's the best wide receiver on the market. There's guys like Jarvis Landry available. Julio Jones was released today. I know he's not healthy, but he could be a good receiver for you in Jacksonville. It's because those are the only guys who want to go there. The guys in the later tail of their career, they want to go win something.
Here you go. Here's an example of why Zay Jones is not worth the money. I'm going to call out Londo. Londo, I'm going to have you come off mute and come on stage. Londo, tell me, which team did Zay Jones play for last year?
I couldn't tell you.
There you go. That's exactly why he's not worth that money. That's exactly why.
Wouldn't know.
How about Christian Kirk?
No idea.
I love that, Lonnie. Get your ass backstage. All right, let's move to the hardwood floor. That's right, hardwood floor. We're going to talk about this, guys, and I'm a proponent on it. Has LeBron given up on the Lakers?
Yes.
That's a simple answer, Ryan.
I've seen it living down here in the Miami area, doing the 4 years of LeBron down here. He's very calculated. Everything he does is for a reason. He's getting that stuff out there about his son very quickly to see, hey, are you interested in drafting my son so I can spend my last 3 or 4 years? I mean, LeBron's done everything in this game and more. I mean, to know what he's thinking right now, what his most important thing, that's up to him. He can make his career out to anything he wants it to be. And quite frankly, I don't know if it's necessarily him giving up on the Lakers or the Lakers just not bowing down to everything that LeBron wants, because we've seen it. He goes, it's great when he's there. He leaves it in a mess, and you're either the Cavs, who are going to take number 1 picks in order to get it, or you're the Heat, who can find their way back. But again, that's a once-in-a-lifetime player. He can do whatever he wants.
I think really quick, Ernest, and then I don't want to take up all the time on LeBron because we do have college basketball to get to here. I think that LeBron has basically decided that he's not in it for championship with the Lakers at this point, because that's not going to happen. He's now in it to make it clear that he still has something in the tank, so that when he's not draft tampering, but basically draft tampering, he can get his son to be a top pick in this league. I think hopefully somewhere in the first round. And I think LeBron wants to be in Cleveland, but we'll see if the NFL or the NBA rather can rig the draft a little bit.
The NFL might be able to help with rigging. We definitely know that with Tom. Don't cancel us. Don't cancel us. Let's move on to our last topic, NBA topic right here. We had a couple others, but for time purposes, let's hit it. Coach Pop is the GOAT. Fact or crap? It's a one-word answer here. Fact or crap? Fact right away from Job. Hold on, like the wrestling gods have given us. Kenneth Cotterill has joined the Competitive Hedge podcast himself.
Yay.
A newly married man from this past weekend. Kenny Cotterill, what is up, my man?
We are newly married. Apparently the first wedding gift was giving my wife COVID, and might be myself in the next day or two here because I don't feel too hot either. But it's March Madness season. You got to push through, right? I'm going to remain completely unbiased with who I pick as far as my picks go, but super excited to be here. Yes, Pop's the GOAT. I truly believe that.
There's 2 facts right there. A third fact from me. I can't say that with my San Antonio viewers and listeners, so I have to say fact. Coach Pop is a legend. Although I do know a Spurs fan who would say he's a GOAT GM than he is more a coach, but we'll get into that another day. Ryan.
He's the best of this era. I'm gonna say fact. It's close. But I'm gonna say fact.
He's Rushmore all time for sure. Like that's the bare minimum for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of similar to offensively, like James Harden, right, Kenny? All right, so we'll move on right here to our March Madness segment. That is right. We're gonna take that thing off the screen there. Now, if you are watching, before we get into round 2, we're going to run our streamer video. But before we do that, if you're watching, you can join the tournament bracket. It's commented under this video on Facebook. It's commented under the video on Twitter, this live feed. Fill out your bracket. We're going to do a live bracket. Interact with us. Pick our picks. Challenge us. We're excited. Stay tuned. Let's watch the streamers. Let's see what they have to happen. And then we're rolling right into March Madness.
And then you can access your stream deck with your mind. Dim our key lights, bro.
Connect to your stream deck via catheter.
Oh! Yo! Clip that! Clip that headshot!
On the ladder.
You got both of us.
One more down.
I got it.
Finish
Finish him.
Yo! No fucking way! Let's go! Yo, that guy in the heli, he was all the way across the map!
I think they've shut the door on these people.
Oh my god! That flick!
Tough battle.
Get him! Got him! Beautiful!
Another handful down.
That's it. Okay.
See?
Oh my! Did you just die? No, someone fucking walked into the room that I was in as I was about to walk out and scared the fuck. He yelled.
There you have it. The BCMG stream team. Coach Mina says, yeah, we need a new clip. I completely agree for you. And we need to bring in our new members. Guys, it is March Madness time. Round 2. Here we go. Fill out those brackets for those just tuning in. $100 grand prize to the best brackets. You better believe all of us on here are going to fill out that bracket. But let's sound the alarm. Let's ring it. Rachel, put that light on. That's right. Here we go. March Madness time is happening here in the studio here in San Antonio. And we got 4 guys here. They're going to talk their picks as we go through each game. So stay tuned here. Let me share my screen and we'll get started. Let's not forget, this is brought to you by BetUS. That's right, BetUS. Use code BCMG. Get matched 125% on your first deposit. So let's get right into it. We're going to share that bracket, and we're going to start off with the first matchup, which is in the West. That is right, the Zags number 1 seed.
Move on.
Overall.
Okay, wait. Does anyone legitimately see a 16 over a 1 this year?
Not this season.
No, not legitimately.
I think that if there is a 16 that's going to push somebody, it's going to be Wright State who played tonight. But I don't think that any 16's like winning outright by any means. So we can probably just say that the ones are good.
Well, I'd like to debate the ones against Wright State, since you said we'll get the other ones go. Zags are our pick here. Now, how it's going to work in the comment feed, we're going to give it 2-3 minutes after. If you feel the Zags won't win, you can comment your pick, and we will see if you have enough votes to override our 4. or if we're split and we need to decide, in fact, your picks matter. So in the Gonzaga game, if you feel that this is not the game for you, please comment your picks. So Zag's going on for us. Boise State, Memphis in the 8-9 matchup. Kenny, I'll start with you on this one. Who do you have?
Well, I think Boise State's going to win. I'd love Memphis to win because I think the possibility of Gonzaga with Holmgren and Memphis having Duren, I think that would be such a fun second round matchup. Memphis did just win their conference, so that is a big deal, but so did Boise State. I think the trendy pick is Memphis here, but I'm going with Boise State.
We got one Boise State from the group. Job.
I'm going with Memphis. I think they have more momentum. I know Boise State also won their conference, but Memphis is a good school. They understand what it takes to win in this tournament, and it's going to be a really good matchup. It's one of the few matchups this weekend where I feel like you can't be wrong on either side, and don't bet it.
Job says stay away from this game. Ryan.
I mean, that's funny that you mention it. Now, straight up, it's definitely not a game that I definitely love, but this is going to be a low-scoring game. Memphis, the one fact, why I'm going to go with Boise State, Memphis is the number one team in this field as far as turning over the ball. They are playing a really, really good defensive team in Boise State who's going to take advantage of their turnovers. It's going to be a very slow-paced game, but I like Boise State in that type of game.
Now we've got a Memphis pick in the chat. That's our first vote, other than Coach saying if you're not picking the Zags, leave the show. I am taking Boise State to win this game. I like Boise State. I like their offense. I do like how consistent they've been all year. So I'm taking Boise State. And plus, they got the blue court. I mean, I know the court doesn't matter in this, but I love the colors. So I'm going to go Boise State in this instance. Job, remind me who you picked.
Oh, I picked Memphis in this game.
That's a 3-2 win for Boise, unless something happens in the chat and it goes crazy. We are going to run Boise State with that win there, and which takes us to the 5-12 matchup, UConn versus New Mexico State. And a game that's very interesting to me. I'll start this one off with you, Ryan.
You know, New Mexico State is a very trendy underdog pick, and they have definitely a lot of reason to do so. Connecticut's one of the best rebounding teams in this bracket. And I think based on their matchups after this as well, they match up really well with a lot of teams. And I think it starts with New Mexico. So I like UConn, and I like them to cover.
UConn to win and cover is the first pick on the board. Job.
That's the only pick in this game. The UConn Huskies legitimately could have won, I think, a few different conferences across the country this year. And unfortunately, they ran into the juggernaut that was Villanova, and were unable to capitalize on the tournament. On top of that, a couple of their games were canceled in the Big East because of COVID concerns, so they weren't able to stack up against Providence a second time on the road. Tough to really get a read on this UConn team, except to know that they rebound well, they shoot well, and they play team defense. They're going to win this game.
Beautiful, beautiful. We've got two there for UConn and a lot of compliments. Kenny.
I do like New Mexico State in this one. While UConn's a great rebounding team, New Mexico also rebounds quite well. I do think that the play here is New Mexico State plus 6.5 from a betting perspective, but I'm going to roll with New Mexico for the upset.
I do like the 6.5 points. If we're not doing bracket, but we're talking actual bets, I do like the 6.5. It's going to be a close game.
I like spread New Mexico, but I am UConn in this game myself. That's a 3-1 lopside there. Again, if you're watching, you can maneuver this bracket if you get your people in and make the comments happen. $100 on the line. Let's move to the 4-13, which is Arkansas against Vermont, in a game where Arkansas has really had a roller coaster season. So, Joe, we start with you in this game. Who do you have?
The Razorbacks are winning this game. It's not going to be close. And I wish I could take Vermont, because any small school from the Northeast, I want to give them some hope, but it's not going to happen.
The biases aside, I'm taking Arkansas to win this game and cover, even in the spread. Ryan.
I'm actually going to go the other way on this. Listen, Vermont's a really, really good team. Now, Arkansas, I think, has stumbled a little bit coming towards out of the SEC tournament play. They haven't been playing the same basketball that they were at the beginning of the season. Vermont just killed. Now, obviously, it's American East basketball, way different style than what is in the SEC. But they're a really good defensive team. And I think in this tournament, we've seen it with teams like Loyola. If you have a good team defense, you can come and play with a lot of these good teams. So the spread is 5 for a reason. It's a lot of people put it at this spread early to try and get people to bet at Arkansas. This is always one of my trendy upsets. I really love Vermont.
We've got our first Vermont pick here on the stream, and then Kenny looks like he's smiling a little bit. Not at all, Kenny. You're not smiling one bit. Kenny, who do you have in this game?
Just fighting off the COVID demons inside me.
Oh, I get it.
Arkansas, this one scares me a bit because I feel like Arkansas, they might have peaked a little bit too early, much like a team that we'll talk about a little bit later on, a big upset that I like in the bracket. But I think they're just going to figure out a way to win this game. Colgate last year gave them a run early. They were down early, and then they were able to fight back and win pretty comfortably. I think they learned from that last year while some of those guys moved on. I do think that this group will figure out a way to win this game. I would take the Vermont +5, though. I think it's tight.
So you like the spread, but you're taking Arkansas to win this game.
Yeah.
That's a 3-run dip on Arkansas side. So again, as you guys come in, watch this video, if you comment that up, you can definitely tip the scales, but this is going right to Arkansas, and we continue. We're holding this chess match. Higher seeds have won some of us most of the time. But we go to this Alabama or Rutgers Notre Dame game, and it might be too early to tell as that game is currently ongoing. But let's start this off. Who do you have in the Rutgers Notre Dame game first? Let's just yell it out loud, and then we'll go through that game.
I have Rutgers +1.
Rutgers.
I got Notre Dame, actually.
I have Notre Dame as well, so we're split. Let's rule this like we are going against our own. So Alabama, Notre Dame.
Can we come back to this one like later in the night when we know what's going on in that game?
Let's do that. Let's do
that.
Yeah,
we'll come back to it as we start to redo like the second round.
Okay, let's do that. Let's go to the fabulous Texas Tech against Montana State, the 3-14 matchup here. Texas Tech, very familiar with this team. Big 12 coverage here on ITL. Texas Tech, shallow rotation, but a fantastic team. I am going to roll with Texas Tech in this game. I do think they are going to be overwhelmingly favored. I don't think the talent is there. Kenny, how do you see this game playing out?
Yeah, I mean, Texas Tech is -15 in this game. I mean, if you sprinkle Montana State money line at +900 into any of your parlays, you could have a pretty nice payday if this pays off. But I think Texas Tech wins. I do think Montana State is getting slighted a little bit. I would have liked to see this one closer to a dozen than 15, but Texas Tech, I do think, comes out on top on this one. They're battle tested and ready to go.
Perfect. Ryan.
Yeah, Texas Tech is one of the better defensive teams, I feel like, every year for the last couple of years when it comes to this particular tournament. And it's kind of upsetting because Montana State, I think it was a really, really good mid-major team, really good offense. It's just a really bad draw with Texas Tech's athletes and defense. It's a 15-point spread for a reason. I like Texas Tech.
Perfect. Job.
Well, I'm going to start by saying give me the points. I think Texas Tech, like you mentioned, they have a shallow rotation. We know in March, making your free throws really matters and getting to the line matters. When you have a shallow rotation, if you get into foul trouble, those free throws are gonna be a big difference here. So I like 15.5, but Texas Tech's gonna win this game and win comfortably.
Perfect. I think we're all rolling Texas Tech here. If some sort of huge wave of influx changes that up, Texas Tech is moving on to the second round, and the headline will read Texas Tech in a non-shootout. Michigan State Davidson is next, which is a fun game to look at, where a lot of favor goes to the Spartans. But Job, tell us why it isn't the Spartans.
Well, it's Davidson, and I'm glad you know that because I didn't actually tell you that was going to be my pick.
You did not.
That is my pick. I think Michigan State gets a lot of love because of their history in this tournament. They haven't been great in recent years, but in the past, Michigan State has really been a great basketball program. They have one of the best college coaches in the last 20 years. The best coach in, I think it's the history of that conference at this point now in regular season wins. But they don't play great basketball this year. They did have one really, really good game against Purdue, which is probably shifting a lot of opinions. That's not the Michigan State team that we've seen all season. And I just think that in this tournament, you need to be not only well coached and well disciplined, but you need to have talent, and Michigan State is going to come up short.
All right. Davidson is the pick for Job. Ryan, going right to you. How do you feel about this game?
So conventional wisdom says don't ever go against Izzo in March. I mean, it's a time as old tale. A 1-point spread. If this game was played in November, December, would you see Davidson and Michigan State at a 1-point spread? Absolutely not. This probably would be closer to 5-6, whatever it may be. The one thing I think that Michigan State will be able to hang with in this game, and it's the rotation of their big men. Specifically, in their last game, their starting center got into some really, really tough foul trouble to the point where he had 4 fouls, and I think it was 7-8 minutes played. Davidson's got I know their center's huge. I don't know names too much, but I know they got a huge, lanky center that they like to work inside. Michigan State has the athletes to be able to take care of what Davidson does best. I'm rolling with Michigan State here, but I can definitely understand the Davidson pick.
Yeah, solid points all the way around. Kenny, I'm also going Davidson in this game, so I don't think it really matters to have your opinion on this one, whether you choose it. But let's just go with it, right? I mean, why do you have
I don't have to. We can move on. No. Michigan State's won like 4 of their last 10. Like, they're not exactly rolling into March. I think they're very lucky to be a 7 seed. To me, they should be in that 8-9 game. A team like North Carolina, to be honest, could be in that 7 range. So yeah, I like Davidson in this game. I don't see a star on this Michigan State team either. I think if they go down, I'm going to have question marks down the stretch of like, okay, who's going to take over this game and go and win it for them? And I don't think they have that guy.
Yeah, I completely agree. And for some reason in the back of my mind, I feel like Davidson has like Steph's third distant cousin playing. So
always have that energy.
There's
The
always a
Steph
Curry
energy.
on the team. So
Pungent.
let's just move. It's Davidson, and so far we have a perfect bracket. Let's go. Do we even need to talk about this game? I mean, is anybody not picking Duke?
Unfortunately, I'm picking Duke. I hate to do it, but I'm picking Duke. They haven't been playing great basketball. I'm sorry, Kenny, to say.
No,
they've
they
not been playing great
haven't.
basketball.
They have not.
But
No.
I
and so
take
it's
zero
something that we're
offense to
talk
that.
about. But they're just too talented of a team to not take them. Even though I really think they are highly overrated in this bracket.
Okay, hold on. Ryan has the face of upset. I'm just trying to make sure.
No,
it isn't Duke.
it's the face of Duke covering. But the thing about Duke this year that's
Okay.
so overblown is they're a really, really good basketball team. There's no doubt about it. It's just the ACC was so putrid this year as a whole that they really weren't able to showcase it. And they'd often play down to these, lesser teams. I mean, they played Miami terribly all season long, who were one of the better teams. Cal State Fullerton, on the other hand, it was not the favorite coming out of the Big West. They are not the type of team that you usually see tournament time from that conference that usually makes a big push. I know Duke's lost one of these games before. I remember Mercer a couple of years ago, if I'm not mistaken. But Duke's too talented, bigger, faster, stronger.
Yep, if I had the music queued up, we'd definitely be playing it right now. Duke all the way and rolls.
And better
in this game.
coached.
And better
Obviously.
coached. And better coached. I don't think Coach K's last run will be against Cal State Fullerton. But who knows?
If it is, I'm going into hiding for like a month. I'm not watching any more games.
Anybody want to argue Baylor?
Nope.
Not right now, but we will in a little bit.
We will in a little bit. Anybody watching, if you are watching, you have an opinion, the 4 of you who just like to watch us, go ahead and put if you have an opinion on that one. And I in this episode, usually there's just this large influx of people at one point that just start curving our picks. I'm waiting for that. And when it does happen, it's going to get very chippy. North Carolina Marquette is a discussion we're going to spend some time on because I believe we differ on this one. So I'm kind of excited. UNC, streaky at best for this season, but an 8 seed. Marquette has had a very good season when they're all healthy. And so this brings an intriguing matchup. I will start with Ryan because I know the other 2 picks. Ryan, who are you going with this?
Right. So this game is pretty conventionally close because I don't think both teams will wow you with any statistic whatsoever. They're a little bit different in the way, still stylistically that they play. So it will be interesting. at the end of the day, I think it's going to come down to what team's going to have more possessions in a matchup like this. And I tend to lean with a team who is better on the boards in North Carolina. So I know that spread, I know there's been a lot of sharp action from the gambling side of things, a lot of fancy Marquette picks coming out. I do think when it comes to these bigger games, rebounding is a big deal. And there's a distinct rebound advantage for UNC over Marquette. Give me UNC in a very close game.
UNC gets nod number 1. Kenny, going to you.
I think North Carolina as well, but I think it's just because Marquette's playing terrible basketball coming into this tournament. I mean, another team that's won 4 of their last 10. They looked really good early on, and especially in the middle of Big East play, they kept picking up all these big wins. But North Carolina riding high, obviously off of beating Duke at Duke in Coach K's final game there. They obviously get upset by in that ACC tournament. But yeah, I think the boards factor, like Marquette's not a good rebounding team. I could see Baycott having a 20-20 type game in this one. So I just think, as he said, more possessions. North Carolina figures out a way to win. Brady Manick, unsung hero in this game.
Oh, I love him.
All right, Joe.
He does not look like North Carolina. He looks like Oklahoma, where he came from.
Well, I'm going to go the other way here. I'm going to take Marquette. If you're betting the game, which I don't recommend in this game, it's going to be really close. Take the 3.5. Don't take the money line at plus 135. I'm going to do it for 2 reasons. One, Marquette, even though they've won 4 of 10, as Kenny mentioned, they play to their opponents. I mean, when they play good teams, they play much better than when they play poor teams. And a lot of it comes down to how well they shoot the ball, because they don't rebound very well. And that's going to be problematic if they're not hitting threes. But I don't think that UNC's defense really plays as well as a team as you might expect. I hate being the quote-unquote trendy pick, but I'm taking Marquette.
Marquette gets the nod from Job. I wanted to make sure we heard that, because this is not only his pick for this game, but we're going to talk later about more. I am taking UNC in this game, Job, though. I was a little worried about if we were going to have a second Marquette pick. I thought about it, and you almost persuaded me. I've been teetering on this game, but I think UNC has the better overall team, so I'm going to ride with UNC in this game, which makes it 3-1 UNC. But who knows? Maybe we have those late arrivals come in and change this all up. So far, holding par in this area, we have St. Mary's, Indiana. We have some fun with this game. If you guys watched that, won some money on Indiana last night. We are 4-0 officially in tournament March Madness play for ITL. Let's get into it. St. Mary's College, not to be confused with St. Mary's University in San Antonio, Texas. Do not get confused by that. I understand San Antonians, you can get confused. Don't do it. Indiana University, yes, it's off that movie. Let's move on. Kenny, who do you have in this game?
I like Indiana to upset. And I think every year we see someone come out of these 11 or 12 seed games. They won, obviously, yesterday. And I just think St. Mary's, like, we're really propping them up because they beat Gonzaga. And, you know, I think any team can get got in conference play, especially in a rivalry game like that. I think they got overseeded a little bit being a 5. Indiana's beat some quality teams this year. I just think it spells upset for me, so I'm going Indiana.
Indiana is the first pick on
I'm doing
this
the
show.
same.
Job is doing the same. He's doing the same. Ryan.
It's gonna be a 3-peat. I like Indiana too. So
Yeah,
when you
let's
have
go.
these kind of, so if you
There
have
it
these
is.
kinds of matchup, and it's very common that you see some of these teams that are matched up that have very conflicting style, don't have conflicting styles. Both teams really like to be at a very slow pace. So some insider love the under for this particular game, but in a close game, again, the athletes on Indiana will play better than they have all season long. I feel like they're a much better team than what they've put on for a regular season. I mean, you can see it right there, 9-11 in conference. They're not that kind of team. When they got into the tournament, they are the type of team that can come up and take on the moment. I really like Indiana in this game, and I think they have a pretty favorable matchup in the next game too.
Mike
Guys,
Woodson, baby.
I have to tell you right now, This is our first BCMG guarantee. That is right. Indiana wins it. Gets
Oh my
the
goodness.
first one.
We also had the 1-2 guarantee, but okay.
No, that doesn't really count, though. There's
I'm
no
kidding.
discussion
The first
on that.
upset guarantee, we'll call it.
Upset guarantee. Our 12 seed Indiana moves on. Let's talk about the UCLA Akron matchup. Are anybody leaning the other way?
Nope. Nope.
We are all
UCLA is too
UCLA.
talented.
I'm not
talented.
doing the alarm here. All right. Let's just get this conversation over with.
Oh.
Texas, Virginia Tech, in a game where everybody won't be watching except for Texas and Virginia Tech fans. We'll start this one at the bottom here. Ryan, who you got?
Again, another game that is going to be played at a snail's pace. Both teams are very, very good defensively. Neither team really focus on getting to the line either. Virginia Tech is one of those teams coming into this tournament that had the least amount of free throws attempted of a lot of teams in the tournament. Depending on how this game, it can go a lot of different ways, thus the spread. I think Virginia Tech is coming in with a good amount of momentum coming in, obviously, from the ACC tournament. Texas is definitely not a sexy team. They remind me of Virginia a couple years ago. Not the championship Virginia team, but the ones that just really played good defense. And
I thought you were going to the ones that lost to UMBC.
That Virginia team. I had that team going like Final Four or something. But
that's a bad year.
Tough year for a lot of people.
At the end of the day, in a slower, the better shooting team is definitely Virginia Tech in this game. I like Virginia Tech.
All right, Kenny.
I've been on the Texas train all year. I thought that they were going to be so good. I figured first month, give them some time. They had some transfers, and then they flamed out late in the year, including in the Big 12 tournament. I'm still rolling with Texas, but this is my least confident. It's my least confident. Also, if we're talking about over-under, 123.5.
It's too high. It's too high. It's still too high. This will scrape 100. This game
we're going to see 58, 55 type finish here. I am going to roll with Texas, and I hate doing it also because when a team like this that had no business getting into the tournament wins their conference and steals a bid from somebody, there's usually one of those teams that goes on a bit of a run. It scares me that this could be Virginia Tech, but I'm going to roll with Texas. I'm on your show. I don't want to get punted either.
We're split a little bit here. And Job, I have this icky feeling you're going Virginia Tech, but
I'm going Virginia Tech. Horns down for this one, unfortunately for you, Ernest. Virginia Tech's the better shooting team. They're coming in with momentum, like Kenny said. In a game that's this close, I'm gonna take the team that's hotter, frankly, because honestly, most of March is just getting hot at the right time. I don't think necessarily Virginia Tech is built to go on a run, but when you think about teams in the last couple of seasons specifically who've shocked the world, there are always teams that get hot at the right moment. I mean, Oral Roberts was everybody's team. And it's just because they got hot at the right moment and they can shoot at the right times. And Virginia Tech is going to be that team that shoots really well when it comes down to it.
I don't know if you guys have seen Matthew McConaughey, but he's pretty hot. So going UT in this game. So that is my pick for this game for reasons other than
Can we get a Homer siren?
Absolutely, we can. Because guess what? In a tie where UT is involved, it goes to UT. And it's a very sad situation. Any vote or comment on the Hokies will turn this one around. But UT is getting the nod in the second round simply because it is ITL. And
Can we move on from Purdue?
I'm pretty sure we can. Anybody want to go with the surprise champion?
Is anyone picking the Ivy? No.
No. Okay. Yeah, we'll talk about that matchup in just a moment. Murray State and San Francisco going at it. The 30-2 Murray State team. I'll start this one off. I can't think of a better team to pick than Murray State in this one. I absolutely love this game for them. I think they'll actually get a win in the tournament, and so I'm picking Murray State to win this game. Ryan, going straight to you next.
This one I've been going back and forth on. I feel like all all week. I just look at this game and I feel like it's just bad for my mental health because these teams are pretty similar with the exception of Murray State really having a much better defense. The one thing that I worry about is San Francisco getting really, really hot from three. They shoot about 28 shots from three a game. And they, with that volume from three, you're pretty much hit or miss. If you're making about 40% of your threes, that team's going to be really, really hard to beat. So I have Murray State because I do think in this sort of matchup, it's going to be more defensive driven, but do not sleep on the Dons. They probably would be making a run if they didn't get such a crappy draw. I mean, I haven't seen many 7 seeds as strong as this Murray State team.
Joe, I'm going to swing over to you.
I'm also going to take Murray State. I'm going to be honest, though, up front, I've seen maybe one San Francisco game this whole season. So I'm basing this purely on like gut instinct, looking at the brief glimpse of the numbers. I didn't go back and forth on it all week, but every time I talked to somebody and they had a strong opinion, they changed my mind. So that shows you how indecisive I am about this game. And just while it's on my mind, can we work on sponsoring like a Yankees something for Kenny? He's got the Cowboys hat on with the Duke sweatshirt. I feel like he needs like
He's got a
Yankees
Lakers shirt
chain
under
or
there.
something. Yeah,
There's a
exactly.
Yankees pin.
He's got a Lakers shirt under there somewhere.
Yeah. All right. I thought so, but it came into my head right now, and I'm like, I gotta just put it out there.
Actually, it's intriguing, Kenny. Who is your baseball team? I forget.
I'm not going to talk about that right now. It's not the Yankees, though. I promise that.
Thank God.
Who is it? That's gonna.
It'll come to you. Also, I'm rolling with Murray State because San Francisco hasn't had a good win since like December. So yeah, give me Murray State.
Murray State gets the bit. I've got to figure that out in my head. But he does have a Lakers shirt on, that's for sure. All right, UK, Kentucky.
Underneath.
Anybody picking?
No, take Kentucky. And
I
if
think
you
St.
take the other
Peter's.
side,
I would even say St. Peter's is probably the worst team in this tournament without.
I thought
They're
the
bad.
fact that they're a
They're
15,
bad.
like
They're really
It's up
bad.
there. It's up there. I think
They're pretty bad.
Wright State deserves that 15 spot. If you had to ask me, they're definitely
Fair. They
up
look
there.
good today. Yeah.
Well, we're going to roll all the way back over to the South, and the South is run by Arizona. That is correct, Arizona. They get Wright State in this matchup. This is a terrific game, just for the fact that Wright State will be kind of on their pace, and Arizona will come out a little cold, but Arizona is definitely more talented. Arizona is one of my favorites to win it all, so I am taking Arizona in this game. What about y'all?
I mean, Arizona's going to win by 20. So
I was praying that Wright State would have got a team like Baylor because then I really would have thought about it just because of Baylor's injury issues. But yeah, Arizona's going to beat them handily.
Yeah, I think this is a good year to kind of mention that the 1 seeds are kind of weak as a whole. I don't think they're going to get enough competition, and I think Arizona is one of the good ones. So it's a tough matchup for Wright State. But I would agree if they get someone like Baylor, they got someone like Kansas, I think they have a shot.
Yeah.
I think there was a lot of misseeding in this tournament at the top level. Usually it's those bottom, the 7 through 12 that's kind of somewhat jumbled up. I think the 1s and the 2s could have been moved around a little bit in this tournament.
Duke should have been jumped down to a 3. Like they had no business being a 2. Teams like
Exactly.
Tennessee should have moved up. Like
Hey,
there was
Providence
a lot of
is going to be Providence is going to be they're a high seed. They should have jumped down as well. I mean, after that loss to Creighton, there's a lot of teams that I think are a little bit overrated. But at the bottom side of this bracket, and I'm looking at the game that's in front of us here, I'm going to take the first Texas team that I'm going to take on the night. I like TCU over Seton Hall here.
You took Texas Tech, hopefully.
Oh yeah, fair enough. I did take the Red Raiders. I didn't like doing it.
There was only one other team I really liked grit-wise to win a game that's close. That's TCU, and I think TCU wins a close game in this game, so I'm taking TCU to win. Ryan?
See, there are 7 Texas teams in this tournament, so just because we're a Texas-based show, I'm not going to be any bias towards Texas because I'm nowhere near you guys. Listen, I like Seton Hall in this game only because TCU is one of the worst shooting teams in this field. I mean, they're shooting a putrid 30% from 3, 66% from the line. If this game's going to be a close game like everyone thinks and the spread says, Seton Hall's got the better equipped team to deal with a close game. I think, again, it's going to be a ground and pound type of game, 60 to 50 type atmosphere. it comes down to free throws. Seton Hall wins that game.
Seton Hall is a choke artist of a team. I don't know if you knew that, Ryan. I'm gonna just remind you of that before you you settle
Right.
on it.
No. Yes, I'm familiar with.
And
any
TCU's like the 10th best team in Texas, so give me Seton Hall too.
Wow, that ties it up. TCU Seton Hall, and we all know what happens on a Texas show. The Texas team
Fair
moves
enough.
on. I'm really thinking that you guys are going to start calling spouses and say, "Get in here and just get that tiebreaker, please." I need this help because, of course, Kenny's favorite team, the Nationals.
No.
No,
God, no.
no. Okay. Well, we'll get there. We'll keep figuring it out. All right, let's go. Houston versus UAB in a game that highly intrigues most, but for me does not intrigue me whatsoever. It's Houston, and it's going to be Houston handedly, by my opinion. Anybody not taking Houston?
Kenny.
All right. Oh, we got two.
two.
Okay.
I love
Well,
it.
we already know where this is moving. Houston's going to go no matter what. But let's hear the UAB persuade us, right? And we'll start with Kenny since Ryan got the last one first.
UAB is one of the best 3-point shooting teams in the country. And I think that really is going to play a factor in a game like this where, yeah, they're going to be heavy underdogs. I think they're 8.5 right now, but Houston's still missing their best player. They've been missing him for months. And I think that they're fortunate that they're in a conference where they really only got challenged this year by SMU and Memphis. There wasn't really any other teams that I saw that gave them a good run. So I think UAB's got a great shot. I'm taking them for the upset.
I think the big key for this game and for any team that is going to be playing Houston is, can you take care of the ball? Because what Houston loves to do, they love to run up and down they love to take care, strip you defensively and turn that into offense. That's their bread and butter. The one thing about UAB, and you're watching their rise through, I believe, the Sun Belt, they are an incredible offensive team, over 80 points a game this season. And they're one of the quickest paced teams while also rebounding at a good rate. So I'm going to take Houston to win, but I definitely like the 8.5 point spread for UAB. I think they keep it close. And hey, in a game where it comes down to shooting, if there's one thing that Houston doesn't do necessarily that well, it's shoot. So they're not a very good free throw shooting team. So they're a good rebounding team. They'll probably hold them off on the boards, but if this game's close, I like me some UAB.
All right. And Job, I know what your pick is, but you can tell the masses quick
Yeah, I'm taking Houston. I actually think that they have what it takes to make a run because of that team defense and because they're so good on the boards. I wish they were better at free throw shooting. It would give me a little bit more peace of mind, but they're going to win this game.
All right, that takes us to the Illinois-Chattanooga matchup. Anybody going Chattanooga in this game?
No.
I don't think they have anyone to stop Kofi Coburn. Like, I think that's the X factor here. Like, in order to beat them, you really do need a center that can match up well with him.
Let's move on so we don't dilly-dally on time as we approach the hour mark. This becomes intriguing. This is the top-picked upset game, Michigan against Colorado State, or should I say Colorado State against Michigan. I will start this one off with Job. Job, why is everybody so high on Michigan?
Well, A, it's a home game for Michigan, right, for all intents and purposes. And B, it's a big-name program. And that's what happens in the tournament when you have, millions of people fill out brackets that don't actually watch college basketball, and they fall in love with the name. They see Michigan, they see 11/6, and they think that that's, the matchup you have to take. I don't necessarily think that it's a home run, that it's a lock, but it is one. I am one of those people who did take Michigan in this game.
All right, Job says Michigan's his pick, like many others. Ryan, are you leaning that same way with the Wolverines?
I do like the Wolverines for this game. The one weird thing about Michigan, and I think if we can start, from Michigan should not be in this tournament, regardless. Like, whatever your opinion is, I mean, there's teams. I'll give you another Texas team that deserves to be in. SMU. You got Texas A&M, all much deserving teams. Played
Texas
much better
State?
throughout the season. No, but
That was an awesome answer.
But at the end of the day, they still have a really, really good player in Hunter Dickinson, and he kind of, against these larger teams, he kind of shrivels up against these bigger guys. Colorado State's one of the smaller teams in this tournament. They don't really have an answer for him. I think he's going to be a huge X factor. I like Michigan.
Kenny, unlike your Blue Jays, right? Who are you taking in this game?
You're getting closer though.
Blue Jays.
No, I said on your show
Expos.
3 weeks ago that if there was one mid-major that I liked, it was Colorado State. I really like David Roddy. I really like Isaiah Stevens. I've been on that train since the beginning of the season. And I think both these teams were poorly ranked. We've already talked about that. Like Colorado State should be a 7 or an 8, and Michigan shouldn't be in the tournament at all. So for me, I'm on the Colorado State train. I'm not a big believer in Michigan. I think because they are Michigan, that's why everyone's taking them. And I think Colorado State upsets as the 6th seed because I guess that's the upset given their +1. But yeah.
Yeah, Michigan wins this game. 3-1, Michigan wins this game just because I'm a Juwan Howard fan.
Are you?
Yeah.
Everyone on Tennessee?
I
hope so.
Yeah.
I will say this. I think Howard did play for the Houston Rockets. So yeah, so we're good. We're in good shape there. Okay, Ohio.
Play for it?
That's definitely true. Ohio State versus Loyola. So what do we have going with this game? I'm definitely hearing and feeling upset, but does anybody else feel that way?
I do.
There we go. We got two.
I do as well.
I want to start off strong here. The reason to hate basketball if you're an Ohio State fan is having to run into Loyola at back-to-back games because there's something about Loyola Chicago and Sister Jean that just gets everybody behind that team. People want to root for them. They know that they have a shot to beat anybody. They always play with confidence. I think they're going to win this game, and it's not going to be particularly close.
Yep. Sister Mary Clarence, Sister Jean, I just know them all. Kenny, what about you?
I just don't love teams that rely so heavily on one player, and that's what Ohio State is. I think if they figure out a way to stifle E.J. Liddell, then I got big question marks about them. I always have big question marks about the Big Ten come tournament time as well because they all just beat each other and then they all get into the tournament. So I'm rolling with Loyola in this one.
Ryan, you are our BCMG guarantee final selection here.
So I'm not 100% sold on this Loyola team this year. I do think there's a talent gap compared to the team that we saw last year. This is another game I think that's going to go way under. Both teams play at a snail's pace. It's going to come down to who's the more efficient team, and that is Loyola. So I do have Loyola winning. It's going to be closer than the consensus thinks. And I'm not, a lot of people are taking them as definites. I'm more of a 60-40.
They won't be in any of my parlays. I'll say that much.
Let's put it that way. That's a good
one. The under is going to be on everything.
I'll bet their money line straight up, but I won't be putting them in a parlay ticket.
They are going to be. It's going to be under Central for that game. It's not watchable other than the last minute to just see it at 1:15 with 2 minutes left. But
do we need to discuss Villanova?
No.
Nope. Gillespie's going to win.
The team they're playing is called Delaware. We're good.
Yeah. Do we need to discuss Kansas?
No.
Let's move on.
Another Texas team goes out. That's good for everyone.
It is indeed.
Again, I'd rather see Texas State here. San Diego State or Creighton. This is going to be a fun one to unlock. A lot of Creighton fans.
Don't watch this game. The over-under is 121. Watch literally any other game or use that as your time to go and do like laundry or something.
This is the time where you go catch the latest movie at the movie theater.
The Batman was great. The Batman
was a good. It's 3 hours though, so you might miss the first half of another game. But San Diego State Creighton, it only intrigues me for the fact that I like Creighton more. But San Diego State probably more of a favorite name and pick. I'm going to link Creighton in this game. I like Creighton and the matchup potential here. San Diego State is only 8 deep. I'm big about rotations, and they don't go past that, and they are not as talented deep. So if they get in foul trouble early, it'll be over quick. Taking Creighton to win this game, especially conference play is much harder. So let's see Kenny. Kenny, who do you got in this one?
It's going to be tough to catch Batman because you'll still have New Mexico State and UConn playing at that time, and you'll have St. Mary's and Indiana. It's tough, but just don't watch this game. Pick San Diego State because people are really valuing Creighton over that Providence win when in reality Providence is just frauds and they put them in their place.
I just canceled my tickets. Thanks, Kenny. Job, who do you got?
Well, I like Creighton in this game, but it's not because they beat Providence. I'm obviously a Providence fan. But I think Creighton was tested. You know, they played more games against the top 25. They went 5-6, as you can see on the screen there, Ernest. I noticed you put that up there. They shoot the three pretty well. They're not afraid of anybody. They are reliant on a rookie point guard at the moment because of injuries. So that's something to watch. They can be turnover prone at times because they don't have their full rotation. They have been hit by injuries really hard. But I just think, they play to their opponents, and they play really well when it comes down to the last 5 minutes of games. I like them in this one.
Yeah, the one thing that I'm seeing from Creighton is they're getting to the line a lot more than they were during the beginning of the season. I mean, through the entire season, they've been one of the lowest teams at getting to the line, but they really switched that up in the tournament. I like Creighton in a very, very low-scoring, tough kind of game. I think they can play the type of defense that San Diego State wants to play. And although it will be played at that snail's pace, I do think Creighton's athletes are tremendous, and they're going to be the difference in this ball game. So I think they've gotten, again, you mentioned turnover issues. They've gotten them a little bit more under control. Big East tournament is, the teams in that tournament were pretty decent in a tough environment. I agree. They're tested and they're ready to go for this one. So give me Creighton.
Perfect. I think that hits the Creighton train there, which means we have another BCMG guarantee. That is right, everybody. You called it at home. The BCMG guarantee. Kenny's not a fan, apparently, of the BCMG guarantee. That's okay. He'll come around. All right. Iowa versus, when you're a fan of the Indians. No. Okay. So
I said you were getting closer, and then he went further away. So.
I went further away. Iowa versus Richmond is a 5-12 matchup that intrigues a lot of people. Iowa definitely had a good season, not as talented as last season. Richmond, if you watched their conference tournament, it was very intriguing. I was cleaning the house, so something had to be on. Let me go first here with Job. Job, how do you feel about this game?
We're taking Iowa in this one. I really want to take Richmond as the upset, just to have an upset, like a real upset in this bracket. But Iowa's the better team, and everyone knows it.
Anybody not picking Iowa?
No,
I really wish Richmond got anyone else.
Exactly, they're an interesting team to watch.
They just can't keep up with. I think Iowa's going to score 90 points in this game, and I don't think Richmond's going to be able to catch them. Is the big thing.
Completely agree. Let's move on to the Providence favorite, Job. Job, tell us why Providence will win this game.
Well, let me put it this way. One, the Jackrabbits are 21-0 since January 15th. So they are the trendy pick. If you're on TikTok right now, everyone's telling you to take the Jackrabbits if you want to make a bracket buster. They're not going to win this game. Providence is very talented. They are a senior-led team. Almost everyone in their rotation is an upperclassman. And Ed Cooley's a great coach. They have been very lucky. I know Kenny thinks they're frauds. I'm not saying they're the best team in the world, but they don't make a lot of turnovers. In the last 5 minutes, Al Durham's the best player that we've seen in the last 5 years of college basketball, where he makes somewhere in the 9 points in the last 5 minutes of games is his average, and he hits 88% of his free throws in those spots. They are the luckiest team in college basketball this year. And sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, especially in March. Going to take Providence.
Well, I might take an act of Providence for the Jackrabbits to get the win, so I'm rolling Providence as well. Kenny, how do you feel?
I'm rolling with the Jackrabbits, one of the best shooting teams in the country. I just they won 21 in a row, and I know that they're beating nobodies, so that's obviously going to play into it. But they're second in field goal percentage and first in three-point field goal percentage in the country. To me, that spells upset. Yeah, Providence has got lucky. I really liked Providence until the Creighton game, and now I'm just a little bit unsure, so I'm rolling with South Dakota State. I almost said San Diego State.
He doesn't even know. Doesn't even know who they're playing.
Kenny
says he like Providence.
We were just talking about another SDS about 2 minutes ago, so.
Can't spell upset without Jackrabbit. I get it, Kenny. That's what all you Tampa Bay Devil Ray fans always think. Nope. Okay. All right, Ryan.
You're still in the ballpark, though.
we're underrating them. You're saying they're one of the best shooting teams? No. By the numbers, South Dakota State is the #1 shooting team in this tournament. Let me give you the average team is shooting about 33% from three. South Dakota State is shooting almost 45% from three. That is unheard of as a team. They get good shots consistently. The one thing about South Dakota State, their defense is really, really bad. And in this case, in this sort of game, you see these numbers, and they are eye-popping numbers. When you look 52.5% field goal percentage as a team, 57.8 true shooting percentage as a team. Is that sustainable against a team like Providence, who's bigger, who's going to be a better rebounding team, and theoretically, it's going to be a closer game? If anyone can do it, I think it's this Jackrabbits team. Give me South Dakota State.
Oh, man, this puts me in a very awkward predicament because I chose the Texas team to move on. I can't choose against Job's team. If anybody comments Jackrabbits in the comments, I will move them up. But Providence is moving on by tiebreaker purposes. If it's your favorite team that moves on, guys, that's the rules here on ITL. I can't do anything about it. But I will say this, compelling arguments, and most of you out there are like, you're a Rockets fan, Ernest. You live and die by the three. You're absolutely correct. Like, it's very tough for me to do this, but we have rules on here that we're going to abide by. Providence moves on. LSU, Iowa State. Does this intrigue anybody to talk about?
No.
Both teams are pretty bad.
Are we all LSU?
LSU is one of the worst turnover teams in the league, so there is a chance that they can come out in this game. But Iowa State, I think, is one of the worst 11 seeds I've seen.
Iowa State peaked. Iowa State peaked like 2.5 months ago.
They're not good.
That does not count, Kenny.
I'm surprised they're in this tournament. I don't know if
that was Kevin, not Kenny, that posted that.
Can't
I
do it.
LSU.
Anybody give Colgate a chance?
Yeah.
I'll give them a chance.
Okay, before we go to Colgate, anybody give Miami a chance?
No.
No, USC and go Auburn as well.
Let me, if this may be my favorite game to live bet, if it is within 5 minutes and this game is close, I will put everything I have on Miami money line based on the free throw shooting differential, but the rebounding differential between these two teams is astronomical. Give me
Miami
USC.
is the worst team on this side of the bracket, and I'm pretty confident in that.
Wow.
I really think
Iowa
that
State
Miami
sucks, man.
Iowa State
They suck.
I almost want to see a consolation bracket just to prove that right now.
Like, if I'm taking
close.
Iowa State, Jacksonville State, I'm making a case for Jacksonville State.
Fair enough. I just feel like if Miami wasn't Miami and you just looked at the record and not, the big U on the logo, they're in the NIT right now. Based on the way they just played, they barely beat Boston College, who's a terrible team. They play down to competition. USC's a better team. It's just not even close.
Let's jump into the quick analysis of Wisconsin Colgate because we're hitting a large number on this episode. So let's roll right
rapid fire after the first round.
Definitely. Wisconsin Colgate is your last dive in here. I don't see it, but you guys do. So talk to me. Where's the Colgate upset?
They shoot the three.
Yep. The best three-point shooting team as far as 3 points made on average per game is Colgate in this tournament, and they shoot it at a 40% clip. If this game comes down to who's the better shooting team, Colgate's going to beat them. I don't think that'll be the case. I like Wisconsin, but there is an interesting case for Colgate to cover, and it's not, again, this is March. Good shooting teams show up.
I think Colgate learned a lot last year because you remember early on, everyone on Twitter was like, oh my God, Colgate, they're going to upset Arkansas because they were up like 15 early. And then they fizzled out. They ended up losing by 15. I think that's a big learning experience. And now you get to come in against a Wisconsin team that I'm not high on the Big Ten. I always say that I'm not high on the Big Ten. And I think that they have a great shot here to shoot the lights out for 40 minutes, not the 20 minutes like they did last year. I don't see them. I think that they're going to win this one outright. I really do.
I like about right. The Patriot League is not a challenging league, so Colgate really hasn't played anybody good in a while. But they shoot the lights out. I feel like they're constantly in the mix to be in the tournament because they get an auto bid basically. That helps. You have a little bit of tournament experience on that team, and I know it's a trendy pick, but I like Colgate.
This would
all
be their
three of you
first
are
time.
Colgate fans right now.
This would be their first time getting out of the first round if it were to happen. Because I think they've been to the tournament 5 or 6 times. They've never got out of the first round, but they've always kept it within 10 or 15 points. So
My God,
they've never really been blown out.
We're gonna do it. I love it. I love the
We're
way
gonna BCMG guarantee Colgate right now on this show right now. That's right. BCMG guarantee Colgate to win this game
in
That's
Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Go
Wow.
Colgate.
I love it. Let's do it.
Colgate to the Final Four. I'm just calling it right now.
Last year during the BCMG live bracket, we picked Oral Roberts as a 15 correctly.
We did.
To the Sweet 16, not just out of the first round. We picked them to the Sweet 16.
We're about to do the same thing to Colgate. I have that feeling. Let's jump right back over in a minute. Gonzaga, Boise State. Guys, let's call this out loud.
Zags.
Gonzaga.
Zags on the way. Arkansas, UConn.
UConn.
Arkansas.
I am gonna pick UConn. Let's go UConn in this game. All right, Texas. Okay, so this game is actually close. Last time I checked, Rutgers are up 5 now. Let's just say Rutgers go on. Rutgers or Bama in the first round.
Bama.
Rutgers.
Ooh, I like it. All right, I'll take Rutgers. I don't hate it.
We're gonna go.
I think either way. It's an upset. So
okay, so Tech or the play-in.
I like Tech. Similar styles. Give me Tech any day. They're gonna play that style better.
I lean Tech also, but I'm very biased. So I'll just put it out there. Unlike Kenny and the Red Sox, Oh,
did you get it?
Yeah, I did.
Woo!
Oh, sweet! Welcome,
that's a BCMG guarantee.
I was a big Johnny Damon guy. I love Johnny Damon growing up.
He was a real Yankee fan, actually.
But before he cut the hair and ruined
there you go.
It.
I appreciate Johnny Damon. I'm a lifetime Sox fan. That's how we roll.
There you go. I didn't hear anybody else give a pick, so we're just gonna move Texas Tech forward.
Yeah,
we're good.
All right, Tech makes that move forward. So this is a fun matchup. Duke Davidson in a game that I think is going to be very close.
I know the trendy pick is to take Davidson. I'm going Duke, but I'm biased once again.
I don't honestly think it's going to be all that close. I think Duke is a much superior team. I think Duke wins.
Future
I really want to take Davidson just to watch Kenny's head explode, but I still think that Duke has too much talent.
No explosion here.
Future Houston Rockets, Paolo Banchero is going to show out and showcase. So Duke to make that.
Maybe AJ Griffin too. Just double up on him.
Might as well. Baylor, UNC. Anybody going with the Tar Heels?
UNC.
I'm taking Baylor.
I think Baylor is probably one of the weaker 1 seeds. They're not the same team as they were last year. I still think they should be able to beat UNC, but their time is coming soon.
I'm going to take Baylor. Let's go Baylor. I couldn't do it. Couldn't break the bracket that early on that side. All right. Indiana or UCLA is the pick here.
UCLA. Too much
UCLA.
experience.
I like
Tough
UCLA.
matchup for IU.
Purdue, Texas, in a game that's going to be really close.
Texas.
I like Purdue.
Purdue gets the moniker of choke artist. They're going to win. They're going to win this game. They're the better team.
You guys are absolutely right. It's Texas. Texas to move on in this one. All right, Murray State or Kentucky?
Kentucky.
Kentucky
just has a thing for ruining really good seasons like they used to do to Wichita State.
We got some good matchups here in the Sweet 16. I can't wait. All right, Arizona or TCU?
Arizona.
I am set on Arizona as well. Houston, Illinois.
Illinois.
I am
Give me Houston in this matchup. It's a tougher one. I have bracket a little bit differently, but give me Houston in this matchup.
Houston moves on. Michigan or Tennessee?
Tennessee.
Makes me sad that it's Michigan there. Tennessee.
I know. I'm sorry.
I got Colorado State in mind. So
Villanova or Loyola?
I really want to take Loyola, but I can't.
Villanova.
Gillespie's too good. Villanova.
Fine, I'll be that guy. I'll definitely take Loyola in this matchup.
I am actually
here.
taking Loyola as well. I wasn't gonna do it if nobody else did, but I'm taking Loyola.
I listen. It's a close matchup. The one thing that Villanova does better than any team is free throw shooting. But they don't foul you a lot. They play a lot of good, consistent, good defense on Loyola Chicago. I think it's a good matchup for them.
Okay, just to be fair, because there's no real skin or dog in the fight. There's no skin, there's no dog in the fight for this one. So let's just be fair here. I'm going to have. I'm gonna take my in studio producer Rachel. She's going to pick a number right now. So I want you to pick a number, 1 through 10. Okay, you have it. All right, write it down for me. Just want to make sure. Okay, you don't have to write it down. Just have it. Okay. All right. So Kenny, give me your number.
7.
And then Ryan, give me a number.
6.
What is it? It is 7. We're moving on with Villanova in that game. Wow. She can't even hear you guys. So that's even better. That's even better. Okay, so we'll move forward here. It's 7. 7 and 6. Yeah. 6 was Ryan. That was, yeah.
Okay, do we have Kansas?
Kansas or Creighton?
I think we have to take Kansas.
I like Kansas.
Kansas there. Iowa or Providence?
Iowa.
I'm riding the lucky team, taking Providence. They're going all the way, man. I'm telling you.
I'm gonna take Iowa in this one. I think they're a little bit more talented.
The
LSU
Friars
Colgate
don't make it out of the first.
The Friars plus 8,800 to win the whole thing, Kenny, is gonna pay my rent for a couple of months.
That's great value. I'll give you that much.
I'll be this guy. Give me Colgate.
Yeah, I want Colgate too.
Hell yeah, I want Colgate.
I think Colgate makes it out of that first side they're going on.
Turns the ball over way too much. If it's this
I
match,
agree.
give me Colgate.
The 14 seed, baby. Here we go to the Sweet 16.
Auburn, USC.
Auburn.
USC upset.
USC. Yeah.
I've got Auburn in this one.
There's got to be a 1 or a 2 that's going to lose somewhere, and I think it's Auburn.
All right, Londo, you're the tiebreaker on this one. Auburn or USC?
Come on, Londo.
We gotta know. Come on.
Londo, consider USC my wedding gift.
Don't put that on me.
Oh, come on.
Londo, he doesn't deserve a wedding gift. He gave his wife COVID.
I do like the idea of an upset, though, USC, so I'm going to take USC.
Oh,
hey,
my gosh.
Let's go.
Move his ass from the stream.
Wow.
USC is the pick. Damn it, Londo. All right, Zags.
I think Colgate could beat USC.
Zags or UConn?
We're going shock on this one. Give me Zags.
We're taking the Zags.
I am going Zags as well. There is no choice there. This is a fun matchup here. Duke, Texas Tech. They played last year, didn't they?
Duke.
Texas Tech.
I take
Tech
Tech as well.
We get a Duke Gonzaga rematch from earlier in the season.
It's almost Cinderella-like. Who are you taking, Ryan?
I'm taking Duke. They're a better team in this matchup. Texas Tech will run into a better athletic team like they always do. Duke's that type of team. Give me Duke.
All right, I'm going to go back to the in-studio to Rachel. Rachel, Texas Tech or Duke?
Oh, my God.
Texas Tech moves on.
Yeah.
I'm not happy about that.
Goodbye, Duke. Baylor or UCLA?
UCLA.
Give me UCLA. Yeah.
I like UCLA.
I like UCLA as well. I think that's the end for the Baylor Bears right there.
Yeah.
All right. In a very surprising matchup, Texas or Kentucky?
Kentucky.
Texas for me. Oh, wow. I guess Texas. I'm just kidding.
Kentucky now they're out.
Yeah, I can't.
You can only support Texas so far, and it doesn't go all the way.
I can only will it. We only have a perfect bracket so far till my bias kicks in. Arizona or Houston?
Arizona.
I think this is where it ends for Houston. I want to take them. I believe in them, but it's Arizona.
I think they're a tougher matchup for Arizona. I think they're going to give them some problems. Give me Arizona, though, in a very tight game.
I'm taking Arizona as well. That is very tough for me to do, though. Tennessee or Villanova?
Tennessee.
I am Tennessee here as well.
Damn.
All right. We have a lot of BCMG guarantees that we're just zooming through. Kansas or Iowa?
Iowa.
I lean Kansas, but that's okay. I'm outvoted. Iowa moves on. And then in the fun matchup, Colgate or USC?
USC.
Colgate.
I'm
If you're
taking
gonna shoot,
Colgate.
you're gonna shoot.
The luck runs out after the first weekend. We see it all the time.
Right.
Not for this
Yeah,
team.
yeah.
Not-
My Final Four team from this bracket is still in, so I'm taking Colgate.
There we go. That's what I
We're
like
just
to
doing
see.
it to have fun with it. I
Wow.
love it.
So I'm going to tell you right now, I'll be brushing my teeth with Colgate if they win this matchup. Colgate moves
Hell
on.
yeah.
If Colgate goes to the Elite Eight, that is all time.
I'm not even
Give
kidding.
my Patriot League some respect, Kenny. My alma
Yeah.
mater didn't make it.
Hey,
this year.
hey,
They never
I
do.
love Colgate. Just
Let's-
Elite Eight is a lot.
Let's do the top two matchups here in the Elite Eight. Gonzaga, Texas Tech.
Both ones. Both ones move on.
Yeah, I love both ones in
I
these
like
games.
both
I think
ones.
I
they're
do
both
as
the
well.
two best teams in this
I mean,
tournament.
I like Duke, but they're not there because you guys outvoted me.
That's correct. That is very correct.
That's because we want to win, Kenny.
UCLA, UK. Kentucky or UCLA in a very good game.
Kentucky.
Kentucky, but it's close.
Oof, I got
Toughest
UCLA in
game-
this game.
Toughest one I think to pick out of the 8 Elite Eight matchups. Give me Kentucky.
Wow, I get outvoted again. This has been not very good for me.
This isn't
I-
really your bracket at all at this point.
It isn't.
You just
Absolutely not.
outvoted us on Texas a couple times.
Iowa, Colgate in a matchup that I'll be watching
Iowa.
intensely. I got one Iowa.
Iowa. That's where it runs out. I
Oh,
really want
Jose,
to do it, but
don't do it. To
This is looking eerily similar to my bracket. I got Colgate.
You got Colgate.
I love it.
I'm taking
I love it.
Colgate again.
In that case,
I've
that's
got
Colgate.
Colgate.
All right,
That's-
here we go.
that's so
Fucking
Wow.
away.
We
That's
are
so
split 2 and
strange.
2 here. Okay, so Londo gets to come in for this one. Londo, who is your pick?
do
Colgate.
we even have to ask him?
or
He's
Iowa?
going with toothpaste on this one. Like,
What do you brush your teeth with? Let's hear it.
I kind of want.
I like to use Colgate.
Yeah, there we
Wando,
go.
don't ruin our credibility with
I am a
Colgate. in the
Colgate
final.
guy.
Who
Tough
brushes their
Iowa fresh
teeth
to
with
make a
Iowa? Am I right?
I don't know anyone who does, but I'm sure there's.
I don't
somebody who
either.
does.
Thank you, Londo. That's a good tiebreaker right there. All right, so Londo has come in. He said he's conquered. Let's move on. Our final four is very fun. Gonzaga, Kentucky, in a game that's going to be probably the best game of the tournament.
Gonzaga.
Gonzaga.
I think
I'm-
they're one team that can slow down Toshibwe at least a little bit.
I've got
Yeah,
the
two-
Zags, so that's 3. Ryan.
Two big men that can rotate on to Schwabe. I can't even say his name, but give me Gonzaga.
The Zags move on, and we come to our second to last game, Arizona and the Cinderella Colgate.
Arizona.
Arizona.
I want to get this out there in advance. This makes me really sad. I hate this, but I'm taking 2-1s to make the national championship. Arizona.
All right,
My
Ryan.
case, again, it looks exactly like what I have bracket wise. I can't have that happen. I'm taking Colgate. I'm here for destruction. Man.
I am taking
think-
Arizona.
Let it be
So-
known I had Colgate losing first round.
This is where Colgate ends, and Arizona Zags are your championship game. Who wins this game? In a game that this will be. I said the other night.
Gonzaga finally gets it done.
Gonzaga is the
I
pick for
agree.
Kenny, and the pick for
Third
Joe.
time's the charm. This is their third championship game in what, 5-6 years? Like,
They've become a monster of a program. They're probably the top 3 program in the country in the last 5 years, and they don't have a national title. Zags.
Ryan, I'm picking the Zags as well. So no matter what, that's our champion for this bracket.
Yeah.
Who do you have?
And you know what? I think of the teams to root for, those kids have done so much on Gonzaga. I mean, from last year, they go all the way to the final game and lose in the final game. They reload after what a great team they had last year with Kispert and Jalen Suggs. And other than their record not being as good, they almost look as talented. I like Gonzaga. I can go with that, but I can see either of these teams. These are the 2 best teams in the NCAA.
Kenny and I
I
talked.
want to take Arizona too because I like them a lot. I think they might be the only team that actually could challenge Gonzaga in this entire bracket. It's going to be a great game.
Ernest, I did fill out my ITL bracket as we were going as well with the picks that I made throughout. You'll recognize my team name right away, or my bracket name as Steve Reisner Stinks. So it's quite obvious which one's mine.
Big shout out to the general. Kenny, you and I have talked a lot the last few weeks on ITL, so I'm going to let Job and Ryan pick the score. Job, give me the winner score.
I think this is going to be a high-scoring game right up until the last couple of minutes when defense shows up. Give me 65-63 Gonzaga.
Okay, I'm going to take your 65. Ryan, give me the loser score.
Man, if there's no way the team that's winning this game is scoring 65 points. Both teams are scoring 65. I have this game going more 85-80. I think it's going to be
Oh, I love it.
high pace.
How about you go right in the middle?
game.
Go 75-73.
I think 75-70, 75-73 is fine.
I just think it's going to be a close game. I picked 65 because the national title game, teams are tired. They played a lot of basketball. But
Arizona's coming off Colgate, man.
We just have to hope that we don't get a Butler UConn like 48-39 game like we had a number of years ago.
Those are brutal.
Let's put a reminder on tonight's bracket for all those that helped that were part of tonight's episode. This bracket is submitted. Well, once we get that all filled out, but that bracket's submitted, and how this is gonna work is whatever that bracket wins goes right back to all y'all, and we'll give that out and split that amongst the group here. But a huge shout out and thank you to everybody that is here on the show. Now, you all have your individual brackets. We're going to end with this. I want you to tell people how they can find you, but I want you to answer this last question, okay? The lowest seed to make the deepest run besides Colgate, because I don't know if that's really true for any of you, but the lowest seed to make the deepest run, and tell people where they can find you. I'll start with you, Kenny, since you were the last one in. We'll start with you first one out. Tell people where they can find you.
You can follow me on all social platforms at CompEdgePod, Competitive Hedge Podcast. Just started it up recently, obviously with the wedding and stuff. Haven't put out an episode in a little bit, but figured I would be on here today to give my picks. Colgate was my one to make a bit of a run, going to the Sweet 16. So not anywhere past that, just the Sweet 16, but that was who I had going the furthest.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Kenny. I appreciate you being on here, man, especially after your big weekend. Sorry about Vic, but thank you for being on.
No problem.
Big round of applause. If I had that button, one day I'll have that button that just everybody starts clapping. Job, I'm going to go with you next. I'm going to go with the unfamiliar last. Lowest seed to make the deepest run. How can the people find you?
Well, it's going to be Marquette, I think. I don't love taking them, but I think that's going to be the lowest seed to make a deep run. You can find me at Source Podcast 11. Thank you, Ernest, for putting that up there because I didn't actually put that in the chat. My partner on the podcast would very much disagree with almost every decision I made tonight. So if you want to see what our bracket actually looks like, he'll drop that into the BCMG group this evening, if I had to guess. And we'll make a run from there. Kenny, congratulations on the wedding, my man.
Very excited to have you on again, Job. It's been a little while, so don't be a stranger. Come back on.
I haven't been on a show in a while, Ernest. I mean, even
Yeah.
my own show, we haven't had a new episode in about 2 months. We've got about 6 episodes coming at you on Friday. We've got recording sessions lined up with a couple of guests in a marathon on Friday evening. So we'll have a lot of episodes coming up pretty soon here.
Can't wait. I can't wait. The man, the myth, the legend, that is right. Ryan joined us all night. Longest episode we had on ITL in a while. And I'm excited to have you, though.
I love tournament talk, man. So you guys can find me at Gamble on Ginter, right? I'll be over there with my co-host, Peter. You can find us on Twitter. What we do is we like to make a lot of free bets for you guys. We're not big believers.
There we go.
We're again, I'm not gonna have you pay for anything. Like, this is all my opinion.
Hell
Everything
yeah.
you're hearing from me today, we do the research, me and my team. We back it up with everything that we have, and we display it for all y'all because we're all about giving information and knowledge out there. This tournament season, you can find us on BTV, betterthanvegas.com. We are one of the 64 different teams. We will be betting against all games live, against the spread, or on the over-under throughout. There's some great people in this tournament, including probably my favorite wrestler ever, Kurt Angle. So it's really cool to share the spotlight with some cool people. But you could check us out over there. All of our picks are going to be given out, and obviously we're going to be live on Twitter, every other weekend or so, just putting out content for there. So if you need plays, give us a follow, and we'll make sure you get the plays.
That's gonna be a great tournament. That BTV Bets tournament. We will not be competing this year just because we were too lazy to put in our fees on time. But we do have a bunch of dogs in the fight. I know Josh Elliott, who was once upon a time a regular on this show, is competing, as well as a couple of friends of ours. Zim Rakes is competing. It'll be a great competition. We will be giving out picks alongside all those guys, even though we're not in it for the prize.
Yeah, a low seed of the tournament for me is Texas, because nobody else believes them but me, and I'm excited to see that deep run.
Team.
Yeah, Texas team or Texas Southern. I mean, either way, we get to see that big run. Guys, I'm your host, Ernest Silva. Add into Lap Pod is where you're watching this on all social platforms. Thank you so much for being a part of this long episode, and we hope you guys have a lot of fun this weekend. This is the biggest weekend of the year. This is the one you have a lot of fun on. So go watch those upsets. Go turn on all the screens. Watch all 4 games. It's going to be tons of fun. Thank you so much. Look forward to having Ryan back on and his partner back on. Maybe future sports scientists be regulars on the show. I appreciate you guys. Have a great night, everybody.
Later, guys.